لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات ربه وسلامه عليه وعلى اله واصحابه ومن دعا بدعوته الى يوم الدين. اما بعد, our brothers and sisters in Islam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I received a question by WhatsApp. The question was about the Qasr Salaah. And the question was that a person was in travel and decided to complete the salah, not to shorten the prayer. And the person was told that he has to repeat the salah. He has to repeat the salah. Instead of making four, he must make two. He must make two. He can't make four. And the question was, is that so? Is it not so? Now, of course, to answer the question, I think it's important to understand the whole concept and the rules and regulations that govern Qasr Salaah and Jam Salah. Two issues here. There is the shortening of the prayer and there is also the joining of the prayer. And I can guarantee you that I'm sure you've heard this lecture probably 100 times. I can guarantee you that tonight you're going to learn something new. That's always the case. First of all, the reduction of the salah from 4 to 2 is what is called in the Sharia a rukhsa. The laws of the Sharia are divided into two categories. One is called a rukhsa, meaning an ease or a facilitation, and the other is called an azima. So rules are either fall in the category of azima, which means strict law. Like for example, an azima would be to fast 29 or 30 days in the month of Ramadan. That's a strict law. To make 5 times salah every day is a strict law. To make 4 rakats for dhuhr is a strict law. To give 2.5% zakat is a strict law. To go for Hajj once in your lifetime is a strict law. These are called azima. An azima is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated. Every legislation from the Sharia, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is called an azima. Strict law. It's called strict law. Then there is the rukhsa. And any deviation from that law, which has also been sanctioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is called a rukhsa. For example, so we have to make 4 rakats for dhuhr. That is the azima, that is a strict law. But the rukhsa, the facilitation of that is that when you travel, you can make 2 rakats. Same with fasting. When you travel, you can decide whether you want to fast or not. Of course, for zakat, there is no rukhsa. You have to pay 2.5% if you are able to pay 2.5%. But there are many others. For example, if you can't take wudu, wudu is azima, strict law. If you can't take wudu, you know what to do. You take tayammum. So tonight, inshallah, we're going to discuss the whole question of Qasr. Where does it come from? What are the ahadith and the ayat of the Quran which revolve around Qasr Salaah? First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Qasr Salaah in the Quran. Surah An-Nisa, verse 101, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا ضَرَبْتُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and when you travel through the earth, فَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ, then there is no blame on you, أَن تَقْصُرُوا مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ, that you, Allah doesn't say أَن تَقْتُرُوا الصَّلَاةِ, Allah doesn't say that you reduce the salah. Allah says that you reduce مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ, of the salah. In other words, the Quran is very strict, very definite. It says, not all the salah can be reduced. The salah of Maghrib and the salah of Fajr cannot be reduced. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, تَقْصُرُوا الصَّلَاةِ, that you can reduce the salah. Meaning that we would have had to make 1 rakah for Fajr And how many for Maghrib? 1.5. And deen is not ridiculous. And the language of Arabic is a very definitive language. I mean, it doesn't, what it says, it says. So you can't misinterpret the Quran. No misinterpretation of the Quran. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you can reduce the salah, it means that you can make 2 for Dhuhr, 2 for Asr, 2 for Isha. And in times of fear, if you're fearful, if you're in a situation of fear, then how many rakahs can you make? Anybody? Salat al-Khawf, Salat of fear. How many rakahs? Salat of fear. See, I told you you're going to learn something. Or then with others again else. उसको मैं इज्जत तो उसके ना कला आलस let's really kind of speak subhanallah. That's why there's so few people who really ask these so how many rakah you make when you're in a situation of fear or war? You feel somebody's going to kill you, somebody's behind you with a knife is chasing you, and salah, the time of salah is there, you're in a state of fear. Or the enemy, you're going to meet the enemy in battle, the enemy is around you in battle, but you cannot not make salah. Remember, salah is foul, doesn't matter whether the enemy is chasing you, you're chasing the enemy, or you're in a state of fear. And when you learn in those times, you learn in states of fear sometimes. You travel and we fear, make salah, make ruku or sujood, somebody's going to grab my money or take my car, or hurt me or anything. We learn in those circumstances. فَالْخَوْفُ رَكَعَ. In times of fear and war, you make 1 rak'ah. Doesn't matter if it's Fajr or Dhuhr or Asr or Maghrib or Isha. 1 rak'ah. And in times of war and fear, there's no ruku and no sujood. So does it make sense? That you fear and you're going to make ruku and sujood. If you make ruku, somebody's going to chop your head off. If you make sujood, well, you can't see anybody around you. So you make salah, you can make salah in times of war and fear on your camel, or on your riding horse, or on your mule. And of course, in times of battle also, the Sahaba used to wear the armor. It's difficult to make a ruku and sujood in armor. That's the other reason. The Sahaba used to stand, and for ruku they used to do that, and for sujood like we do when we sit salah. Your eyes are always open in front of you. But the salah itself, the intention of salah, you can't say, well, I'm facing the enemy, I'm going to postpone my salah and kill a couple of these people. Postpone. No. The time the salah comes, the Sahaba used to pray. One saf, the first saf prays and the second saf doesn't pray. Then the second saf prays and then the third saf stands with their swords. That's how they pray. But the prayer, subhanAllah, was never postponed for any reason. So now you know what to do when you go in jihad. SubhanAllah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us those who will make jihad, inshallah. Or make intention to make jihad. That's very important. Some of the hadith, Imam Bukhari reports from Anas ibn Malik, خرجنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من المدينة إلى مكة فكان يصلي ركعتين حتى رجعنا إلى المدينة. Anas ibn Malik says, we used to go away from Medina with the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم to Makkah, to travel to Makkah. And we used to make 2 rak'ahs until we returned to Medina. And we will talk about the time involved. Bukhari also reports from Abdullah ibn Umar, very important hadith, teaches us a lot. This hadith teaches us a lot. Listen to this hadith. I'm going to ask you questions about the hadith. If you can't answer, I'm going to put you in the naughty corner. Why I'm saying this, because I want to remember, I want to say things and make you laugh and make a joke so that you can remember. Very important that you remember these things. They're very important matters that you must remember. Akhraj al-Bukhari, Imam Bukhari reports from Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah ibn Umar says, صليت مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بمنى ركعتين. He says, when we went for Hajj, we used to make 2 rak'ahs at Mina. As you know, we reduce the salah at Mina when we go to top the Jamarat. وأبي بكر وعمر. Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Sayyidina Umar, says, we used to make, we went for Hajj with the Nabi, we used to make 2 rak'ahs at Mina. In the time of Abu Bakr, we made 2 rak'ahs at Mina. At the time of Umar ibn Khattab, when he went for Hajj with the Muslims, he made 2 rak'ahs at Mina. Why did they all make 2 rak'ahs? My first question, why did they all make 2? That's your first answer. They made 2 because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made 2. They would have made 2 and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, وَمَا عُثْمَانْ صَدْرًا مِنْ إِمَارَتِهِ ثُمَّ أَتَمَّ. Now comes the question. Abdullah ibn Umar says, when it came to the time of Ibn Uthman radiallahu anhu, at the beginning of his imara, at the beginning of his reign, of his rule, Umar reduced the salah to 2 and later on he completed the salah and made 4. So I repeat the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. Or the riwayah, it says, when we went for Hajj with the Prophet, we made 2 at Mina. We went for Hajj with Abu Bakr, we made 2 at Mina. When we went with Umar ibn Khattab, we made 2. When we went with Uthman, in the first few years of Uthman's reign, we made 2. And later, in the latter part of the reign of Uthman, Uthman completed the salah and made 4 rak'ahs. What do you think? Why do you think Uthman did that? That's why you don't know. No, anybody know? MashaAllah, give you a lot of money.
Sheikh?
Yes. Alaykum salam.
Does the concept of the completed?
4, made 4 rak'ahs. Instead of making 2, made 4.
He made 4.
Yes.
Two and then 2 again.
No. You make 4 rak'ahs for Dhuhr, 4 rak'ahs for Asr, 4 rak'ahs for Isha. Because remember you spend at least 2 days in Mina. You made 4 for Dhuhr, 4 for Asr. And combined it, which means he made 4 and 4. He didn't combine it. He made 4 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 2.
He didn't Qasr.
He didn't make Qasr.
Didn't the
He didn't make Qasr. No. Our Uthman, in the latter part of his rule, he made it as one would normally make it if you're not on travel. He disregarded the rukhsa of travel. Similarly, we know that the rule of law is, we give 2 other examples, that the law says, السارق والسارقة فاقطعوا أيديهما. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, the male and female thief, when they steal, you must cut off their hand. That's the law. That's the law. The law says that if a man is found guilty in a Muslim court of law for having stolen anything, then that person's hand will be cut off. Umar suspended this rule. Umar suspended the rule once and he said, I'm not going to cut off people's hands anymore. Why did he do that? What was the reason that Umar did that? Suspended the rule of the Quran. Why did he do that? I'm sure someone will know. Yes?
Because at that time there was poverty.
Exactly. There was starvation. There was drought, in fact. So it was a long drought in Medina. There was very little food. And Umar said, until the conditions improve, I'm not going to cut off people's hands when they steal, if they steal food. Because they are forced to steal food. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there was no zakah on horses. There was zakah on camels, zakah on sheep, zakah on animals, zakah on everything, except horses was excluded from zakah. When it came to the time Umar ibn Khattab, he said, no, I'm going to include a tax on horses as well. So he increased the taxation by including horses. Umar ibn Khattab, radiallahu anhu. So during the time of the Sahaba, it seems as if somehow they had the allowance of being able to change the law. And from a person, if you hear this from somebody, you don't know why, what the reasons were, then it seems as if, how could they do that? How could Osman do that? When the Prophet didn't do it, nor Abu Bakr do it, nor did Umar do it, so why did Osman do it? It's important for us first of all to understand who the Sahaba were. Sahaba not only had knowledge, they also had the depth of knowledge. Sahaba not me and you, they called Sahaba, they were companions. They weren't the friends of the Prophet. They weren't his acquaintances, they were his companions. Meaning, what is a companion? Like your wife is your companion. What is a companion? Companion is somebody who's with you 24/7. So they were the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they understood the law. They were there when the Wahy was revealed. They hung on to every word of the Nabi. They understood the depth of the law. So when you hear any of the Sahaba having changed the rule, you must understand that what they did was they practiced what is called ijtihad. They practiced what is called ijtihad. Meaning what? Meaning they applied their minds to the law. They looked, we can't do that. Only a mujtahid can do that. A mujtahid is a person of the level of a Sahaba. That's a mujtahid. And Imam Shafi was a mujtahid, Abu Hanifa was a mujtahid, Imam Malik was a mujtahid. These were the last mujtahidun. After that, I don't think there are any more mujtahid. The mujtahid is somebody who knows everything about the Quran, everything, most of the ahadith, and is able to apply his mind to this. So the Sahaba had what is called malakatul ijtihad. They had the capacity to practice ijtihad. And what does the word ijtihad mean? It means a person who has the knowledge, and secondly, who has the intelligence to apply his mind to the knowledge. Because many people have knowledge but no intelligence. Many people have knowledge but no intelligence. Ask me, I know a lot of people with lots of degrees. You ask them anything outside their degree, they start. They can't have a conversation about anything else except they're not stupid. But a mujtahid is somebody who has knowledge of all the law. Criminal law, civil law, law of salah, law of zakah, law of economics, law of commercial, all. Imam Shafi and Abu Hanifa, these people wrote on all these subjects. And when you teach these subjects at the university, they teach you all these subjects. And all these subjects were mastered by the mujtahid. So if Shafi was a mujtahid, imagine what Umar ibn Khattab must have been. Imagine what Uthman was there. Not only was he a mujtahid, he was beloved of the Prophet, gave him 2 daughters. You know, if you give somebody 2 of your daughters, maybe you give somebody 1 of your daughters, you'll think twice if you give him the second one. But both of them passed away when the Prophet ﷺ said, if I had another daughter, I would give it to Uthman. No, Father doesn't say that lightly. So Uthman would never have gone again for Nabi Sallallahu. The love was too great. So why did he do it? This is important. And this is what we lack today. We lack that kind of knowledge in order to apply our minds to modern situations. Therefore today they have panels of ulama. Not one alim, they have panels of ulama in the Middle East, in the Far East, all over. They have majma'at, meaning groups of ulama. The biggest majma' of fiqh al-Islami, which is based in Jeddah, is composed of the most or the highest learned alim of every Muslim country in the world. And And they sit together and they all new issues are put in front of them and they decide on those issues. In that time, one Sahabi, you'd put a mas'ala in front of him and he would make a decision. And all the Sahaba would agree with him. And if they disagreed with him, they would tell him they disagreed with him. And they'll tell him why they disagreed with him. So Uthman radiallahu ta'ala, what happened in this? Why did he complete the Salah? He applied his ijtihad and he saw, what did he see? He saw that Prophet's time was gone, Abu Bakr's time was gone, Umar's time was gone. So many new people came into Islam. There were so many new Muslims. Hundreds of thousands of new Muslims. They now came from Iran, from Persia, they came from Syria, they came from Egypt, they came from North Africa, they came from all over the world, especially for Hajj. Isn't it so? Today also. Where do most Muslims gather? At Hajj. So what did Uthman see? Uthman realized that many of these people have very little knowledge of Deen. And he realized that if he was going to make 2 rak'ahs for Dhuhr, and maybe that person only came for Hajj for those few days and would leave again, that person may think, what? That Dhuhr Salah is 2 rak'ahs. And if somebody asks him at home, say you only make 2 rak'ahs for Dhuhr, you say that Uthman made 2 rak'ahs for Dhuhr. You went for Hajj, you will say, no, Uthman and he made 2 rak'ahs for Dhuhr. You see the hikmah? You see what the leader or the alim or the person who's in charge has to take into account? He has to take into account the time in which he lives. He has to take into account the people he speaks to. Sometimes I don't do that. I just shoot from the hip. But Allah forgive me. Alright, so the important point here is, that I want to make is, that and the Shia, of course, they make a big thing out of this. They would say, look at Umar, he changed the law, He made Tarawih again when the Prophet ﷺ stopped. Abu Bakr didn't do it, and Uthman didn't do it, and come Umar, he started again, and Umar changed this law, and Umar changed that law. They didn't really love the Nabi ﷺ, he thought he was a man. No. And they give you all these examples. And if you don't know the reason, you say, maybe they like him. And that's why it's important that we learn the asbab, the causes of the change of the law. And that is a continuous process. تغيير أحكام بتغيير الزمان. The ulama say that the rulings change as times change. And times and rulings are adapted to the time. But not me and you can't make those rulings. It has to be made either by a panel or by a mujtahid. And as I said, there are no more mujtahids today. Knowledge is too wide. Any questions on that? Ijtihad. Remember last week we said that there are 2 kinds of people as far as the law is concerned. One is called a mujtahid and the other one is called a muqallid. A mujtahid is the one who applies his mind, extracts the law from the Quran and Sunnah, is called a mujtahid. And a muqallid is a blind follower. So a person who is what is a blind follower? A blind follower is a follower who takes the pronouncements of an alim at face value. It's a muqallid. Makes taqleed. Taqleed is blind following. So somebody will say, I'm a Hanafi, and therefore I do it like this. You ask him, why does he do it like that? He says, I don't know, but I'm a Hanafi, and I've been taught that Hanafis do it like that. Hanafis put their hands like that. Hanafis keep their hands like that. Hanafis do that. Ask him, but where's the proof? Where's your dalil? He says, I don't know. Did the Prophet do it? I don't know. The Sahaba, I don't know. And most of Muslims today are muqallids. Most of them, the Shafi the same. People say, but why do you do it? No, I'm a Shafi. I'm a strict Shafi. My father was a Shafi. My father's father was a Shafi. But why do you do it? People don't even think, ask them as if Shafis If Shafi was a prophet. As I said last week, it's our duty to find out why they said that. So there's the mujtahid and there's the muqallid. And we are muqallidun. We are blind followers. Unless we find out the reason that, as I told you now, why did Uthman change it? There's a reason, now we know the reason. In other words, you might find yourself in a similar situation where you also find that maybe you have a new Muslim with you on travel, and if you're going to make 2 rakahs all the time, then he's going to think, this is how it's done. Or if you're going to join the salah all the time, you're going to think, this is how it's done. So you also, or with your children, for example, child may think, well, my father, only make 2 rakahs, and if people ask, why am I, you say, well, I traveled with my dad, and only make 2 rakahs. But he didn't understand. Alright. Yes, sir. Alaykum salam.
So if you go Hajj,
oh, yeah, I repeat the question for the ladies.
so if you go Hajj now and
yes,
you do 4 rakahs, there's nothing wrong with it.
A lot wrong with it, because you're not Muslim, you're not a mujtahid. You are a muqallid of the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only then, I said only mujtahid can apply the rule like that. You don't have a world view where you have to see that everybody in the world makes 4 rakahs. And fortunately today we don't have to do that, because most people know that that you go for Hajj or Umrah or travel, then you use the salah. So no, it's not wrong. If you go for Umrah or for Hajj or you travel, you must make 2 rakahs. But I said, if you yourself are in another situation on your own, somewhere else in the desert somewhere, you could make that kind of decision, depending on the people who are with you, depending on the level of sophistication and education. But no, for Hajj, no, that remains like that. That sunnah remains like that.
It seems to be a common practice amongst the Hanafi. But, when they do 4.
Yes.
Instead of 2,
yes.
With the word of Allah missing.
Yes.
So is this to do with with the?
All right. That was the question that was asked. We will come to the answer to that. You're saying that the Hanafis make 4 rakahs for the word of Allah, even if they're on travel.
On Arafah.
On Arafah. All right. That's very strange. But we'll come to the strangeness of that later on. We'll answer that question. You're saying the Hanafis make 4 rakahs on Arafah. We will come to that. Inshallah. Umar ibn al-Khattab, radiallahu ta'ala, Imam Muslim reports, he says, a man said to Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَقْصُرُوا مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ إِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَنْ يَفْتِنَكُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. The man said, oh Umar ibn al-Khattab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there is no blame on you if you shorten the prayer, if you fear that harm will come to you. The kuffar will harm you. فَقَدْ أَمِنَ النَّاسِ. And the man said, oh Umar ibn al-Khattab, is now your time. Everybody is living in security. There's no more enemy coming to run after. We're all secure and safe, mashallah. فقال, so Umar said to him, عَجِبْتُ مِمَّا عَجِبْتَ مِنْ. He said to him, I'm also amazed at what you are amazed at. What is puzzling you also puzzles me. فَسَأَلْتُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. And I asked the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because what did he say? He said to the Nabi, but Qasr Salaah and Salatul Khawf and all these salawat are not applicable anymore, because we live in times of security. And you travel, and travel is very easy today. Should we still reduce the amount of rak'ah? And he said, the Prophet said, صَدَقَةٌ تَصَدَّقَ اللَّهُ بِهَا عَلَيْكُمْ فَاقْبَلُوا صَدَقَةً. He said, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, that the reduction of salah is a sadaqah from Allah, and you must accept the sadaqah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This means that Qasr Salaah is allowed whether you are secure, safe, or not secure and safe. Similarly when you feel, there's fear, you reduce the salah. When you go, you reduce the salah. Imam Tirmidhi, of course, another question is, and it's a very short question. Imam Tirmidhi reports also from Anas ibn Malik. He said, صلينا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الظهر بالمدينة أربعا وبذي الخليفة العصر ركعتين. Anas says that we made in Medina 4 rakats for Dhuhr, and when we got to Dhul Khulaifa, we reduced it Asr for 2. Asr to 2. In other words, the start of Qasr, when you leave Medina, where does it start? It starts at Dhul Khulaifa, also called Bir'ali, also called Bir'ali. That is also the place where you do what? Where you enter into a state of ihram. You don't put on your ihram. Put on your ihram in Medina. You enter into a state. In fact, as I said, it is not called ihram, it's called clothing of ihram. Ihram, the word ihram means. What does the word ihram mean? What does the word ihram mean? The word ihram means niyyah. The word ihram means niyyah. Why is it called ihram? It comes from the word haram. As you can hear. Ihram and haram comes from the same root. It means the niyyah to impose upon yourself those things which were normally halal to becoming haram. So to have intimacy with your wife is halal. When you enter into a state of haram, you make niyyah for haram. You make haram upon yourself intimacy with your wife. You make haram upon yourself cutting your hair. You make haram upon yourself wearing shoes. You make haram upon yourself wearing kufiyah. You make haram upon yourself kissing your wife. You make haram upon yourself using sex. You make haram upon yourself hunting, killing animals, and cutting. So you see, so ihram means it's got nothing to do with the 2 pieces of cloth that you make. Absolute zero. But of course because we don't know the language, we confuse. So when you say ihram, it is niyyah. Niyyah, making haram. That's why I say, you say nawaitu al-umrata wa nawaitu al-hajja wa ahramtu bi ahli al-bayt. I intend the hajj and I make haram upon me. Those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Alright. So Dhul Khulaifa again is, so where for us does it begin? So we are here in Kuala, and now we want to make intention for travel. Our miqat is approximately 82 kilometers from home. Approximately 82 kilometers from home. You can start making Qasr Salaah. But the majority of scholars agree that you can start making Qasr Salaah once you leave the city limits. Your city limits. So if you live in a city that has limits, Cape Town unfortunately stretches very far. So if you reach the outskirts of Cape Town, maybe if you travel from here, if you reach Somerset West, maybe that's over the mountains. You can start making Qasr Salaah. So if Dhuhr gets you there, but your intention in the beginning must be to travel more than 82 kilometers. Alright? Then you can start making Qasr Salaah once you leave the city limits. Some say it's the airport. It doesn't matter, you can decide where the city limits are. But your intention must be to travel for more than 82 kilometers. Any questions on that?
Coming back.
Coming back. Coming back?
Check.
Coming back from the travel. Once you reach the city limits, again, Qasr stops. So, Sahaba traveled from Damascus to Basra, or to Kufa, one of the 2 cities. I think it was to Kufa. So they asked the leader, when they saw Kufa, they asked, then what happens to our Qasr Salaah? So he said, you can still make Qasr Salaah until you enter the city. So the moment you enter the city, the Qasr stops. But let's assume assume you are on your way home. Maybe you went somewhere and you're driving home. Alright? So you're driving home. Let's say you get to Worcester. Okay? Or you get to, let's say, the Strand, South to West. And it's time for Dhuhr. Dhuhr Salah, time for Dhuhr. But you decide you're going to drive home. Maybe you're feeling well, you do this and the other children are crying. You decided, well, you're going to come home, because lots of times no for Dhuhr. So you're going to drive home and you're going to go at home. Nothing wrong with that. Then Imam Shafi'i says that the salah that was farad on you when the waqt came in, that salah is the salah which you make. Which is, so you reach home, how many rakats you make? 2 rakats. Because 2 rakats of dhuhr was farad on you when the waqt of dhuhr came in. Similarly, if you leave your house after dhuhr and you did not make dhuhr, and you reach Worcester, how many rakats you make? 4 rakats. Because 4 rakats was farad upon you at the time that the waqt started. Remember this very much. So you know,
Just 2 questions.
2 questions.
Just touching on what the brother said. So, I'll travel quite a bit. So, if I get to Kalin,
You travel quite a bit, you get to Kalin, yes?
I make my Jum'ah Salah.
You make Jum'ah Salah.
Yeah. It takes me about 90, just under 100 kilometers to get home.
Okay.
Qasr Salaah is not in yet.
Yes.
So I still drive home
Yes.
and I make Qasr 4 hours.
Yes.
Is that
So your question is, you are in Kalin, which is about how many kilometers away?
90, not even
So,
100.
okay.
Yeah.
So you can make
So
Qasr.
there's no reason for me to make Qasr Salaah.
Okay. So you make Jum'ah day,
Yeah.
and you drive back home.
Yeah.
And you get home after Asr, before
Before
Asr.
Qasr.
You get home before Asr.
Yeah.
So what is the question?
So the question is, there's no reason for me to have made Asr to do it Asr closer to the Jum'ah.
What is the question you ask?
Yeah, could I have made Asr
When?
after Jum'ah?
You don't make after, you either join the Salah.
Or join the Salah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your question is, can you join Jum'ah with Asr?
Yeah.
Yes. You can join Jum'ah with Asr. You make 2 rakats for Jum'ah, and you get up, and you make 2 rakats for Asr. But you can't do
One, yeah, I'm 4 attempts.
No, listen. You cannot do. How can you join the Salah? There are 2 ways of joining Salah. 2 times. Tadkhira and Taqdeeman.
Yeah.
You can make Asr in the time of Dhuhr and Dhuhr in the time of Asr. But for Jum'ah you can't do that. You can't make Jum'ah in the time of Asr. With Asr Jum'ah. You can't do that. You only can bring the Asr to Jum'ah. So what you do is when you cut it, you can make 2 rakats for Jum'ah and 2 rakats for Asr.
Second question.
Second question.
When you're on travel,
Yes.
for how long can you actually make the 2 rakats for the Asr?
Inshallah will answer. That's a very important question which we'll answer. The question that I'll ask is, when you're on travel, for how long can you make Qasr Salah? For how long can you make Qasr and join the Salah?
It's better of when one travels and you are at one place more than 3 days.
We will discuss that later.
Oh.
We'll talk about that. All right. The question I should have answered right at the beginning was, what is the hukum of Qasr Salah? If I ask you, what is the hukum of the fast of Ramadan? What will you say? What is the hukum of the fast of Ramadan? What is the hukum of the fast? What is the hukum of the zakat? What is is a fard. The hukum of all these things are fard. What is the hukum? Question now is, what is the hukum, meaning what is the ruling, the legal ruling for Qasr Salaah? Is Qasr Salaah, is not Qasr Salaah, is reducing the Salah from 4 to 2 fard? Is reducing the Salah from 4 to 2 sunnah? Or is one? Which one is it? Is it fard? Otherwise, must you do it? Is it wajib? Is it just below fard? Or is it sunnah? Okay? Decide whether you want to do it or not want to do it. Okay, I'm not asking to answer the question. I answer the question.
You want also to include the jais?
No, jais. No, for ibadat, the jais is coming in. Jais means permissible. Jais means it's permissible. Jais. No, jais means coming in. Imam Shafi'i. And there are many that read on this. Aisha agrees with this, and all of the Sahaba agrees with this opinion of Imam Shafi'i. To say that to reduce the salah is sunnah. To reduce the salah is sunnah. Imam Shafi'i says to reduce the salah from 4 to 3 sunnah. What does it mean? It means that you have a choice. But the better choice to make is to make Qasr Salaah and jam salah. But if you want to complete 4 rakats, nothing wrong. You just lose what? You lose the reward of the sunnah of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You lose the reward, you have got the reward of the fard of the salah and following the sunnah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. 2 things. Now you get the reward of performing the salah, but you lose the reward of following the sunnah, which was to reduce the salah. You made 4, so you lost that reward. Similarly, if you do something which the Nabi Sallallahu did not do, as I said on Friday, then, for example, if you perform a bid'ah which was not done by the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the bid'ah, for example, consists of putting salawat of the Prophet at times you're not allowed to do it, shouldn't do it, then you're not going to be punished for putting salawat on the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but you're going to be punished for what? For not following the sunnah of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because he did not command you to do whatever you did. Although you may have regarded it by yourself to be a good thing. People say that, it's a good thing, why can't I do it? It's a good thing. What's wrong with it? The wrongness of it is, it was not done by the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That is what's wrong with it. Not that what you're doing is a bad thing. But you're doing something which was not done by Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, you will be punished for it. For going against the practice of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The only madhab of the 4 madhabs that regard the Qasr Salaah as a sunnah is Imam Abu Hanifa and the Zahiri madhab. Imam Abu Hanifa says that to reduce the salah to 2 is wajib. Hanifa says, Hanafis, that's why I'm surprised that Hanafis don't make, and the Hanafis do not join the salah. The Hanafis do not join the salah at all. Only time they join the salah is when they're on Hajj, when they go for Arafah and Mina. The Hanafis, they interpret the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had reduced the salah and joined the salah on Arafah and on Mina. Hanafis follow that strictly. And the Hanafis say that it is only allowed at that time for no other time. All the other scholars say it is allowed any time you travel. But Abu Hanifa says that jam salah, joining the salah is only for that time. But we'll now go into the differences. So the Hanafis say that if you make the salah full, you have, your salah is batil. You've gone against the wajib. And therefore, if somebody tells you, brother, you as a Hanafi have to reduce the salah, you cannot make full, then he has to repeat the salah and make it 2 rak'ahs. So if you made Dhuhr 4, you say, brother, you as a Hanafi, you have to reduce the salah. And he has to do it. These 4 rak'ahs not accepted. It's batil by the Shafi'i. Not accepted. Because you have to reduce the salah. But we're now going to the time. Because the 2 goes together. So I'll allow questions after I complete this. The Hanafis and the others also have differences about the length of time. How long can you make Qasr Salaah? That's an important question. For how long? So you leave here, you make intention, I'm going to go for a holiday. Remember, you can make Qasr Salaah. You don't have to go only to Makkah to make Qasr Salaah. You can go on any trip, whether it's a business trip, whether it's a holiday, whether it's just driving somewhere over. And if you drive more than 82 kilometers, if your intention, but you must leave home with the intention of going beyond 82 kilometers. You can't drive to 82 kilometers and then decide you're going to travel. You know what I'm saying? You can't drive and look on your speedometer and say, wow, we've now gone over to 82 kilometers and now we're traveling. No. You have to leave your house to start traveling. Knowing, in other words, you leave your house saying, I know that I'm traveling to Canada. So I'm making intention of traveling. So when I get to Canada, I can beg, or on the road, I can beg. I can reduce my salah and join my salah. This is the rule. The rule is by Imam Shafi'i that you can only, if you travel for more than 82 kilometers, you can only reduce and join the salah for 4 days. Excluding the day you leave your house and excluding the day you come home. Meaning 4 full days plus 2 days whatever time, isn't it? Because you may leave home after Dhuhr, you may leave home after Asr. So that day that you leave your house is not included in the 4 days. The day that you leave your holiday home is also not included in the 4 days. Those are 2 extra, not full days, whatever day. The time is in fact 4 days. So if you make intention to go for a holiday for 5 days, you can't make Qasr Salaah at all. You have to make full from the day that you arrive. Alright, remember? Excluding the day you arrive at your holiday destination and excluding the day you leave your holiday destination. If the days in between is more than 4 days, you can't make Qasr Salaah. You have to make Salah full all the time, from beginning to end. So if your full days is only 4 days, excluding the day you leave your house and excluding the day you come back, then you're allowed to reduce the salah and join the salah. So when you book your holiday, always book it. So it doesn't go more than 4 days, excluding the day that you leave and excluding the day that you come back. If your wife asks you, I say, well, you can Qasr Salaah. And jump salah. Imam Abu Hanifa says, so that is the minimum, is in a number of days, 4 days. Of course, maximum number of days, isn't it? So, if it's less than 4, of course you can make Qasr. You only go for 1 day or for 2 days. Imam Abu Hanifa says that you can only make Qasr. Imam Abu Hanifa doesn't allow jump. You can't join the salahs, but you can reduce it. So you must reduce the salah. You must reduce the salah when you travel. Abu Hanifa says you can only reduce the salah if you're traveling for less than 15 days. Less than 15 days. So if you decide to stay in a place for more than 15 days, no Qasr Salaah. Is that clear? For the Hanafis. So if I decide to go visit my family in Durban for 3 weeks, where I count the day, if it's more than 15 days, I'm considered to be a resident of Durban. If it's less than 15 days, I'm considered to be a traveler. Then I can reduce the salah. Hanafis can't join. Although lots of Hanafis now become Shafis. So they've somehow joined both madhabs together and said, well, 15 days I'm going to make Qasr and Jam. So half Shafi, half Hanaf Shafi. Hanaf Shafi, half Shafi, half Hanaf. So remember, if you're a Shafi'i, 4 days. If you're a Hanafi, if you stay more than 15 days, you can't use this. Any questions on that?
Sure. Travel continuously for more than
Yeah, that's a very good question. In other words, if you leave your house, for example, you're traveling from here to wherever in your car, you don't know actually when you're coming back again. So you travel from here to Bloemfontein, and you go to Joburg, whatever else, and you travel. But you stay, everywhere you stay 5 days, maybe 6 days, maybe 3 days. But eventually you know you're going to be away from your house for more than 15 days. Then as long as you're traveling, and as long as it's going to be more than 15 days, you're allowed to reduce the salah. But if you fly from here to Durban and you only stay in Durban, you don't travel from there, then you must wait for 15 days, and you're going to be there less than 15 days, then you can reduce the salah. Is that correct? Do I sound logical still? One and the fastest here. Alright. Any other questions?
when you're reducing and joining,
Yes.
Qasr and Dhuhr together.
Yes.
When you make the four, you say the salam after the first two, or you after the four?
Now that's a good question. That's the next. I always forget some of the stuff I have to talk about. This is such a long speaking about. How do you perform Qasr and Jam? That's the question. First of all, the simple way is that we do it the way the Prophet ﷺ did it. So now you're going to Dhuhr, you travel. You now decide you're going to make Dhuhr and Asr together. So your intention is already, I'm going to join the two salahs. Make Dhuhr and Asr together. So how do you do it? You make Iqamah. The sunnahs fall away. If you want to make the sunnahs, it's up to you. But the sunnahs fall away. All the sunnahs except Witr Salah. And Witr Salah, the minimum Witr Salah is one rak'ah. I said the last one rak'ah. So you're not going to make Dhuhr and Asr together. You say the Iqamah. Then you make the niyyah. It's a long niyyah. Nawaitu usalli. Nawaitu usalli. Farda salat al-dhuhr ma al-ashr. Jabu taqdeeman mafsuratan jama'atan wa lillahi ta'ala. Take it 3 weeks to memorize. By the time you say the niyyah, you've already broken your rule. Just from worrying, and you said the niyyah correctly, you have to say it correctly. So you niyyah in your heart. You say, I intend to make Dhuhr and Asr together in the time of Dhuhr. If you make it in the time of Asr, if you wait, if you're driving or you're busy, and you say, well, I'm going to delay my Dhuhr till the time of Asr, then in the waqt of Asr you say, I intend to make Dhuhr and Asr together in the time of Asr lillahi ta'ala. Say, Allahu Akbar, make 2 rak'ahs. And you finish the 2 rak'ahs, you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Then you get up again without speaking to anybody or doing anything. Make it al-Iqamah. Iqamah, Prophet ﷺ made 2 Iqamahs. Make it al-Iqamah. To show that there's a clear distinction between the 2 fards. Then you make 2 rak'ahs for Asr with no niyyah. With niyyah is only done when you make Dhuhr. That's what you make it. That's when you say, I intend to make Dhuhr and Asr in the time of Dhuhr and the time of Asr. Lillahi ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. You pray normally. Then you make another Iqamah. Then you make Salah. And that's it. Maghrib, you might just make 3 as you normally would. Or Isha, you might make. Or you can make Maghrib and Isha together. You can decide at the time of Maghrib, we're going to pray, we're busy praying, so we're going to make Maghrib and Isha together in the time of Isha. Or you're going to say, well, let's first make Maghrib and Isha together, then we pray, then we have the whole night to do it. Right. So you can decide whichever way you want to do it. Maghrib remains 3. Yes, I swear.
What is wrong following the different life?
The rule for all the madhab is that if you're in the masjid for Abu Hanifa or for Shafi, all of them say that if you're in a masjid where the imam is whatever he is, you follow him.
But listen, you said that if you follow two madhabs, you will this. What is that? Look, I grew up in the Hanafi.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that I have to follow it strictly. I have to do it.
Yes, that's
If I feel that what the Imam Shafi is interpreting, knowingly that Imam Shafi, all of them, they have taken observations and learned from the and they learn from the Prophet. I would follow a Shafi or Shafi, and knowingly that that person has his views, interpretations, that's his view, his interpretation. He studied that he found that the Prophet did this. We all of them followed what the Prophet did. They felt the Prophet did that. They others, the Shafi said, no, the Prophet did that. So what do we do?
That's a very good question. It's a question that has been with us, I think, since the time of Nabi Nuh, since the time of the Adam. And the question that you ask is, if I follow any madhab, it must be the truth, it must be correct. So am I allowed to follow any madhab that I want to follow? That is your question.
Not any madhab.
Well, there are four. I mean, obviously, one of the four. Yeah, one of the four.
I'm in Makkah. I studied
The Hanbali madhabs.
I stand here and I follow them.
Because you can follow any madhab. Obviously, the reason being that when it comes to the fara'id, when it comes to those things which are followed, it's all the same. You make 4 rakahs for the word, 4 fasts. You may keep your hands in a different manner. You may put your hands on the floor in a different manner. You may not make wudu. You may, but generally, the structure of the salah is exactly the same for all the madhab. But your question remains: is it allowed for you to make what is called talfiq? We said we make taqleed. Taqleed is to follow blindly. So you're Shafi, you follow blindly. Then there's talfiq. Talfiq means to do madhab skipping and jumping. So you do, sometimes you're a Hanafi, follow Abu Hanifa, sometimes you're a Shafi. Is that allowed? It is allowed, but not, you can't. The ulama generally say that, for example, if you make salah, you make dhuhr, you must make dhuhr from the beginning to the end, either the way Abu Hanifa taught or the way Shafi. You can't say in the beginning, I'm not going to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but yeah, follow Abu Hanifa. Then you're going to say, I'm not going to put my hands above my navel, I'm going to put it above my neck because they are following Imam Shafi. No. If you make an ibadah, you make it from the beginning to the end, according to the madhab that you follow. Unless you know the hadith on which you're doing it, you base it on hadith which you know. So there are two things you can do. You can either follow a madhab, or you can follow the direct instruction of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the question. My advice is to always follow your madhab. Then you put the responsibility on Abu Hanifa, who's done, as we say, he did the research. He did the reason that there are differences between the madhab is because of ijtihad. Like Omar had a different opinion, looking at the same hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, an example last week, I said, Aisha said there's nothing wrong with putting scent on you before you go into ihram. Remember that? She says it didn't matter because she put the atar on for the Nabi sallallahu before he went into ihram. Afterwards, when he went into a state of ihram, Nabi sallallahu still smelled of atar. But Umar and his son Abdullah said they didn't like that. They didn't like the smell of atar to remain. Because they said it is not allowed to put the atar for you to smell that atar when you're in a state of ihram. But Aisha said, but I didn't do the Prophet. But they use the ijtihad. So the the reason that we have the differences with Abu Hanifa and Shafi is because of the application of the mind. Because every person's mind is different. The extent of a person's depth of understanding is different. We will look at one thing, but because you know the subject better than I do. I mean, if I show you this piece of cloth, for example, a person of cloth, I will say, well, this is a big piece of, maybe it's linen, maybe it's, but you will exactly know maybe even where this was made, because that's your job. That's what you grew up with. That is your profession. Same with carpet, same with anything else. So, Abu Hanifa had certain areas in which he was an expert. Shafi was an expert in certain areas. And so were the other ulama. So, their perspective would be different. But I, as a person who doesn't know the language, hasn't studied the hadith, hasn't studied the Quran, if I'm a Hanafi, I should stick to Imam. But if I follow an Imam in the Salah, I have to follow the Imam in the Salah. Hanifa says that, Shafi, they all agree on that. For example, if you come to the masjid for Fajr, and the Imam is Qunut, you can't go down and make sujood. You have to follow him, you have to stand and wait till the Imam is finished. If you don't want to do the Qunut with him, you have to wait until he's finished and then go into sujood. So you have to follow the Imam. So my suggestion always is, if you know the hadith, on which, if you're a Hanafi and you know the hadith on which Imam Shafi bases a particular view, you can follow Shafi. Or if you're a Shafi'i and you know the dalil, for example, we are all in Cape Town, we are a Shafi community, isn't it? We've always been maybe 99% Shafi'i. I think in the last maybe 20 years that's been reduced. Because a lot of the Hanafis from the north have come to settle in Cape Town. But there are times when every single Shafi in Cape Town becomes a Hanafi. All of us become Hanafis when we give fitrah. When we give fitrah, we're all Hanafis. Because only Abu Hanifa allows you to give fitrah and money. Shafi says you can't give fitrah and money. You can't give 20 rand, the fitrah is 23 rand, 30 rand. You can't give somebody 30 rand. Shafi doesn't allow it. He says, no. That's not fitrah by Shafi. Shafi says the Prophet didn't give money. The Prophet gave wheat. Barley and wheat. Not even rice. Barley and wheat. Must give 1.5 kilos of barley, 1.5 kilos of wheat. That's what Shafi says. Abu Hanifa says, but you know, we have to apply our mind, says Abu Hanifa. That time when people ate only that was that time, the food. Today, people eat so many different kinds of food, so why don't you give them money, they can buy it themselves. So the Shafis will never say they also Hanafis. And the Hanafis sometimes will never say that they Shafis. In Cape Town will become Hanafis. And there are many other instances. I can give you maybe a few instances where the Hanafis become Shafis. For example, lots of Hanafis now join the Salah. Qasr Salaah and Imam Shafi, they join. Lots of Hanafis who regard crayfish as having been makruh tahrimi, makruh bordering on haram for eating prawns and crayfish. Today it's become, you see them in the ocean past go to Lagabad to eat crayfish. Is that one? So you see, in the environment in which you live also affects you. Also affects you. But my answer is that for an ordinary layman is to follow his mind. Yeah, the Hanafi say that fish that doesn't have scales, you can't eat. Like snook, and the Shias of course also agree with that. Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. These books are very nice books. They come at a very high price if you buy them new. They are $4, $3.5. But the masjid sells them. I think it's 10 rand. He sells them for 10 rand. So if you want to buy it, it's very good to have it in the house. People can read it. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum.